especially at the beginning, people try to cut corners, obviously, and also to reduce the costs. But nowadays, actually, it's easier than it used to be, let's say 15 years ago, because now we have these big players like Google or AWS and Azure, and all of them, they have their own solutions for databases, which are already covering the highest standards, basically. You as an end customer or developer or someone who is connecting to this service, you just have to follow the guidelines that they give you and to make sure that you use encrypted connections and things like that. But it is a bit more expensive, but there is a solution already out there. And you just, again, don't reinvent the wheel. Someone already did it super well, super good. Or if you don't want to do it, you want to pay less, then have an expert who will set up properly, in this case, database and all the security around.
I think, and yeah, this video is being recorded, so I hope I'm not going to get sued for it. But I think this is usually taken a bit too seriously in the beginning. Even in DSGVO in Switzerland or GDPR, usually you can get a warning before there's a legal consequence for most of the things that you do. Might not happen in all the cases, right? So I'm not saying do cut corners and do stuff the wrong way, but don't over focus on these aspects in the beginning, because you can rectify them as you go. Be aware of certain, I mean, especially if you say legal risks. If you know that you're doing something that is illegal, we don't have to talk about that. That's stupid. But if you're in an area you don't really know what are, different countries, different rules, I would always try to start it slowly and be aware that you have to, not slowly, start it quickly and be aware that you have to look at the legal consequences in these markets once you see traction. Because if you start looking at all the legal consequences in all the markets or all the aspects that you might face, you're just doing research instead of building a product and delivering it and then figuring out, I don't know, let me say it like this. In Portugal, this product is not working. Okay, we don't need to look at the legal requirements there. So let's stick to Spain and France, right? So try to do the minimum required work, and everything after that, do it as soon as you see traction, so that you're not going to run into trouble in the long term, but only once you know it's viable. That would be my advice. Luis, maybe you see it differently.
No, I agree. I mean, maybe you can even ask the question yourself. Have you ever heard of a product that failed because of not following privacy guidelines, basically? I mean, you will have other challenges to take. Obviously, do the bare minimum, as Laurent said, but this shouldn't stop you from a release or from building your idea, basically.
And maybe just from a technical perspective, I think there are some no-brainers that you should not do, right? You shouldn't sell data if customer did not agree. You actually have to allow customer to delete the account, like this minimum, and also to download his data maybe. So all these like quick indicators that you're not doing things right, you should actually eliminate. But everything else, it's really a gray zone. We spent sessions and sessions with the video on the mobile case, and then it turned out that you can do that, but maybe it's not necessary. So, yeah.
And also depends on the industry. I mean, if you do software for financial services or health, or then obviously maybe you need an external advisor at some point. But I think for many industries, it is really just, as Laura said, do what you have to do, but don't go crazy about it.
Yeah. Just a correction, I said BDO, it's actually Boston Consulting Group. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, maybe I can also add these as a little information. So I think what we experience at the SSA is mostly, I can guarantee you, if you're in healthcare or if you're in fintech, investors will look very closely what you do and whether you adhere to it or not. In other, for other industries, it might be a bit different. So, but in general, as soon as you look for investors, somebody will ask those questions and you better have an answer to it. And so I think that's what you need to be aware of. But in principle, I would fully agree with Nenad and Laurent and Luis's words on that.